Sometimes the biggest sign that a man is falling for you is not that he suddenly becomes super romantic. It's not always flowers, long emotional texts, or him confessing everything in a dramatic way. Sometimes the real sign is that he becomes a little weird. He starts acting nervous around you. He teases you for no reason. He remembers things you barely remember telling him. He finds the most random excuses to talk to you. And suddenly, his behavior starts changing in ways that feel small, but strangely personal. Because here's the thing, a lot of men don't fall in love loudly. They fall in love awkwardly. They fall in love by paying attention, by getting protective, by becoming a little clumsy, by trying to stay close without making it too obvious. And if you've been wondering, does he actually like me, or am I imagining this? Then this video is for you. But before we start, I want to say something important. One sign alone does not mean a man is in love with you. And if he is inconsistent, disrespectful, controlling, or constantly making you feel confused, then please don't turn that into romance. This video is about small signs that can mean he's secretly falling for you when they come together with respect, effort, and emotional consistency. So let's talk about 7 weird things men do when they're secretly falling for you. Number 1. He suddenly acts a little awkward around you. And this one is so funny because a man can be confident with everyone else, but the second he's around the woman he actually likes, he starts acting different. He may stumble over his words, he may laugh at something that wasn't even that funny, he may talk too much, or suddenly become weirdly quiet. He might try to act cool, but it comes out unnatural, like he's overthinking every little thing he says, and you can almost feel it. The energy is not bad, it's just different. He's not as relaxed as he usually is, and that often happens because when a man starts developing real feelings, he becomes more aware of himself around you. He starts wondering, did that sound stupid? Was that too obvious? Does she know I like her? Should I text her again, or is that too much? And because he's trying so hard not to look nervous, he ends up looking even more nervous. That awkwardness can be a very real sign of attraction, especially if he is usually calm, confident, or playful around other people. But around you, he suddenly becomes a little more careful, a little more self-conscious, a little more emotionally affected. Because when a man doesn't care, he doesn't usually overthink. But when he does care, suddenly every word feels important. Number 2. He teases you, but in a soft way. Now, I don't mean mean teasing. I don't mean making you feel insecure, embarrassed, or small. That is not flirting. That is immaturity. What I mean is that soft, playful teasing where he tries to create a little private world between the two of you. Maybe he gives you a silly nickname. Maybe he jokes about something you always do. Maybe he gently makes fun of your coffee order, your favorite show, your dramatic reaction to something small. And it feels personal, but not cruel. It feels like he's trying to get a reaction out of you. Because sometimes, when a man is secretly falling for you, he wants emotional closeness, but he doesn't know how to say that directly. So instead of saying, I like talking to you, he teases you. Instead of saying, I want your attention, he jokes with you. Instead of saying, I feel comfortable with you, he creates little inside jokes. And honestly, a lot of men do this because playful teasing feels safer than vulnerability. It gives him a way to connect without fully exposing his feelings. He can test the energy. He can see if you smile, if you tease him back, if there's chemistry. But here's the warning. Teasing should make you feel included, not attacked. If his jokes make you feel ugly, stupid, insecure, or not good enough, that is not a cute sign that he likes you. That is a sign that he lacks emotional maturity. A man who is falling for you might tease you playfully, but he will still care about how you feel. Number 3. He remembers tiny random details you forgot you even told him. This is one of the strongest signs, because when a man is secretly falling for you, He often becomes weirdly attentive, not always in a big, obvious way, but in small details. You mention once that you like a specific snack, and weeks later, he remembers. You casually say you have an important meeting, and he asks you how it went. You tell him one random story from your childhood, and later he brings it up like it mattered, and you're sitting there thinking, wait, you remembered that? That is not always random, because attention is one of the quietest forms of attraction. When a man is emotionally interested in you, your words don't just pass through him, they stay somewhere. He collects little pieces of information about you without even realizing it. Your favorite drink, the way you like your coffee, the thing that stresses you out, the song you mentioned, the place you want to visit, the type of movie you love. And what makes this so powerful is that he may not even be trying to impress you. He just remembers because he's paying attention. And when someone is falling for you, your details start becoming important to them. Now, of course, some men are naturally good listeners, so don't take one remembered detail as proof. But if he consistently remembers small things about you, especially things that don't benefit him, that can be a very real sign that you matter to him more than he is saying. Number 4. He finds unnecessary reasons to talk to you. This is such a classic one. When a man is secretly falling for you, he may not always come out and say, I miss you, or I want to talk to you. Instead, he creates little excuses. He sends you a meme and says, this reminded me of you. He asks a question he could have easily answered himself. He replies to your story with something small. He sends you a song. He asks for your opinion on something that probably did not require your opinion. He updates you about something you once talked about. And technically, none of these messages are dramatic. But they all have the same hidden meaning. I wanted a reason to talk to you. Because when a man is starting to fall for you, he often wants access to your presence, even if it's just through a small text. He wants to stay in your world. He wants to keep the connection alive. He wants to see if you respond. And sometimes he will make the reason look casual because he doesn't want to seem too invested. So instead of saying, I was thinking about you, he says, look at this. Or, you won't believe what just happened. Or, random question. But the question is not really random. The meme is not really random. The story reply is not really random. It is his way of reaching for connection while pretending it's not that deep. But again, here's the warning. A man texting you randomly is not enough. Pay attention to the quality of his effort. Does he only text when he's bored? Does he disappear when you respond warmly? Does he keep things vague forever? Because a man who is genuinely falling for you will usually want connection, not just attention. There is a difference. Number 5. He gets weirdly protective over small things. This one can be really sweet when it comes from a healthy place. When a man is secretly falling for you, he may start caring about small things that affect your comfort or safety. He asks if you got home okay. He notices when you're cold. He checks if you've eaten. He walks on the outside of the sidewalk. He tells you to text him when you arrive. He pays attention when someone makes you uncomfortable. He becomes a little more alert around you, not because he thinks you're helpless, but because your well-being starts mattering to him. And a lot of men show affection through practical care. They may not always say, I'm emotionally attached to you, but they will say, be careful. Let me know when you're home. Take my jacket. Are you okay? Do you need anything? And those little protective instincts can reveal that he feels emotionally invested. Because when a man is falling for you, your mood affects him. Your safety matters to him. Your comfort becomes something he notices. But we need to be very clear here. Protective is not the same as possessive. Protective feels safe. Possessive feels controlling. Protective sounds like, I want you to be okay. Possessive sounds like, I want to control what you do. So if he starts telling you who you can talk to, what you can wear, where you can go, or making you feel guilty for having a life outside of him. That is not romance. That is control. A man who is falling for you in a healthy way will care about you, without trying to own you. Number 6. He acts different when other men are around. This is one of those signs that can be subtle, but very revealing. A man who is secretly falling for you may act completely normal until another man enters the picture. Suddenly, his energy changes. Maybe he becomes quieter. Maybe he becomes more playful. Maybe he tries harder to be funny. Maybe he watches the interaction more closely. Maybe he asks casual questions later like, "Who was that?" And he tries to make it sound like he doesn't care. But you can tell he cares a little. Because when a man has feelings, other men can trigger something in him. Not always in a dramatic way. Sometimes it's just a small shift. He becomes more aware, more attentive, more competitive, or more emotionally guarded. And this usually happens because he hasn't fully admitted his feelings yet, but his reaction exposes him. His mind might still be saying, "We're just friends," but his body language is saying, "I don't love seeing her give that kind of attention to someone else." Now, a little bit of jealousy can be human. It can show that someone cares. But jealousy should never become disrespectful. If he becomes rude, possessive, punishing, or tries to make you feel bad for simply talking to another man, that is not romantic. That is insecurity. The healthy version looks like a small emotional reaction. The unhealthy version looks like control, guilt, or punishment. So pay attention not only to whether he gets jealous, but how he handles that jealousy, because that tells you a lot about his emotional maturity. Number 7. He pulls back a little when his feelings get too real. This is probably the most confusing one, and it's also the one people misunderstand the most. Sometimes, when a man is secretly falling for you, he may suddenly become a little more quiet. Not cold, not cruel, not disrespectful, just more careful. Maybe after a really good conversation, he takes a little longer to reply. Maybe after a moment of emotional closeness, he suddenly acts more casual. Maybe after he opens up, he pulls back slightly. And you're left thinking, "Wait, did I do something wrong?" But sometimes, that pullback has nothing to do with you doing anything wrong. Sometimes it happens because he realizes he is becoming emotionally attached. And that scares him, especially if he is not used to vulnerability, especially if he has been hurt before, especially if he likes feeling in control, because falling for someone means losing a little bit of control. Suddenly, your response matters, your mood matters, your absence matters. And for some men, that can feel intimidating, so they pull back just enough to feel safe again. But here is the important part. There is a huge difference between a man who needs a little time to process his feelings and a man who keeps you trapped in a cycle of confusion. A small pullback after emotional closeness can happen, but if he constantly disappears, comes back, gives you hope, then pulls away again, that is not a secret love story. That is emotional inconsistency. And you should not have to decode someone forever just to feel chosen. A man who is falling for you may get scared. He may be awkward. He may need time. But if his feelings are real and healthy, his actions should eventually move toward clarity, not endless confusion. So if he pulls back a little, watch what happens next. Does he come back with warmth? Does he continue showing effort? Does he treat you with respect? Does he move closer over time? Or does he only come back when he feels like losing access to you? Because that difference matters. A man who is scared but sincere will still care about how his behavior affects you. A man who is emotionally unavailable will expect you to survive on breadcrumbs. And you deserve more than breadcrumbs. So, let's bring this together. When a man is secretly falling for you, he may not always say it directly, but you might notice it in the weird little things. He gets awkward around you. He teases you softly. He remembers tiny details. He finds random excuses to talk. He becomes protective in small ways. He acts different when other men are around. And sometimes he pulls back when his feelings start becoming too real. But the key is this: don't look at one sign. Look at the pattern. Does he make you feel safe? Does he respect you? Does he show up consistently? Does his behavior become warmer over time? Does he care about your feelings, not just your attention? Because a man falling for you should not only make you wonder, he should also make you feel valued. If this video helped you understand his behavior a little better, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Because here, we don't just talk about what men do, we talk about what their behavior actually means. And if you're dealing with a man who has suddenly gone quiet, and you're wondering whether his silence means he stopped caring, or whether he's still deeply attached, then watch my last video next. Because sometimes silence doesn't mean there are no feelings, but you need to know the difference between emotional depth and emotional unavailability. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.